Last we left our heroes, you'd escaped an encounter with these spawn victorious, and with the folding boats necessary to send the refugees of Burner Kiln south to safety, you rested and ventured back into the city proper, explained to these civilians what the plan was, and then decided for yourselves how you were going to proceed. Would you yourselves guide this group of almost 20 civilians through the threats of the city to the east side of town, battling what may come, or would you delve into the city, putting yourselves in harm's way to cause some form of distraction that would draw the enemy's attention, giving the civilians time to head east of their own accord? This was ultimately the plan you intended to take, but a scouting mission began, looking to ensure that you could cause a big enough distraction. On the direction of the residents of the town, you found yourselves once again looking for the molten anvil, this time seeking to rig the magma flow system the proprietor had used to overflow and erupt, causing the distraction needed to run. En route, however, you were not quite as quiet as you'd hoped, and drew the ire of a hulking spawn beast. However, as it drew itself up to strike, it instead froze, and you watched in shocked awe as the creature's roaring maw was replaced by a hooked, horned, angular creature's unsettling smile. It seemed to speak to you in some alien tongue before withdrawing and reducing the creature's form to a pool of slime and tar. You hurried inside the molten anvil and were able to rig up the system to blow, along with a good-sized section of the city block. And with some strong rolls, were able to do so in a timed nature that would give you enough time to return to Olderfold Spire before the eruption shook the town. And as it did, you took off east with the refugees, fleeing as quickly as you could, hurried along by a divined path. Once you made it east, you bid farewell to these townsfolk. And with your newfound ally electing to remain at your side to see your ends done, you sailed west to the midpoint of the basin. You scurried up to its edge and got an aerial view of your enemy and the war camp below. This war camp, unlike anything you've ever seen, splays out before you, and the city beyond is burning by your doing. Thankfully, with no fear of any civilian collateral damage. You've accomplished much in a short time here in this town, yet you still have an even greater task before you. But for your efforts, you've all leveled up, reaching level 5. So we'll dive into that very quickly on our side, and then we'll jump back into tonight's game. Okay, so as everyone has chosen what they're going to take for their level 5, everyone is just jumping up 5. In the class they already were, mostly just getting some extra attacks, and now 3rd level spells for our casters, or full casters, 2nd level spells for our half caster there. But we do like to roll hit points here on screen, so your Constitution modifier has already been added in the level up, but everyone grab your various D8s, D10s, D6.
I'm so nervous, guys. I'm so nervous.
We reroll ones.
Fuck me.
So, Brock and Kev, D10.
You roll D10. We need a compilation of the number of times in both campaigns. Roll the 2. It is more than you can fit on one hand.
Fucking brutal. I honestly think that's my first one this campaign, but all last campaign.
I think you rolled one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all last campaign it was 2s.
I rolled a 3, so I'm only slightly better.
Man.
Your
Oh,
average
I also got a 3.
This is a D10, right?
D10 for the 2 fighters, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking guy, sure. Why not? Classic Hondo rolls over here.
An 8 for Kev. So now you can go in and add that number to your manage HP in your, go back to manage levels, manage HP at the top, and add that number that already includes your con.
I rolled a 7.
We also
really
have
good,
an
really good.
additional 5 to your max HP modifier right now.
I still have that, yeah.
Only for 3 of you.
Only for 3 of us. That's right. For some reason, I thought it was 4.
Who is below 40 HP? Does anyone?
Just you.
64.
How much do I have?
Yeah.
Currently I have 39, but that's with 5 extra hit points, so I should have 34?
I'm extra tough now, so...
Must be nice.
Common.
My con is 2. I'm just a little baby bunny rabbit.
Sure.
I can wild
your
shape though.
sister, and she...
Nah, she's tough. You seen her? Jesus.
What do you have, Allie? What's your...
I'm 41 now.
Oh man, we're so low on health. These little bunny rabbits. What are you at, Leah?
I'm at 44 right now, but I will have 39.
Okay, so with HP bumped, your newfound kind of spells percolating in the brain, feeling a little faster, quicker in the hands, you still are kind of crouched, overlooking the basin, maybe pulled back from the edge, kind of returning to the midpoint of this basin. Still having to sail if you wanted to. The last thing we had chatted about at the end of the last game was going back to Good Times as just like a place to hole up. Do you want to continue on that path, or what's leave it to you guys? What's the plan?
I think you said we were at the end of the last episode. We were at the basin edge, looking down at them, right? And we saw that stuff. Okay.
So yeah, do we want to go back to Good Times? You guys are pulled back off the. There's like there's a pretty big like beachhead of this where the basin is dried in. So you've got quite a good swath of land to like kind of just get out of eyesight and have a little spot to yourselves here, but it's obviously open. If you want to cover Good Time was what you had talked about, but you got lots of options. So where are we going? What are we doing?
We can just talk here quickly, or we can just talk out a game quickly too. Battle plan is we got to plant this rod.
We got to get into the mountain, wherever the crack and all that shit is, where Kyle mentioned there being lots of scary shit right in front of
You've
us.
seen it. It's about directly below you at this midpoint. Like you've seen it from afar, and now you've saw it from over top at this point.
So do we have to scale down into it? Are we like kind of at a cliff edge?
You can choose to do that if you wanted to. Otherwise, you basically, if you want to scale down where the waterfall was and come in from the wall, that is an option. It's obviously just exposed. Should you do so during daylight? Otherwise, you'd be having to make your way through about a 300-foot wide, and then about the full expanse of the where the entry would be of like a war camp, like an open kind of no man's land of, admittedly not particularly populous from your enemy. There's not a lot of like active spawn like moving about, but you did see at least a dozen across, just little dots of people moving here and there, and a lot of the large kind of eggs that are amalgamating. So there's still like threat, but it's not quite as populous as maybe it was a month ago, 2 months ago. They seem to be growing.
So we have this golem statue we found. Maybe even in the episode just before you showed up, Brock. Maybe in that episode. We found this like golem summoning statue thing. We could always use that at the top here if it wanted to hold on to like ropes or something for us as like an anchor point for us to like scale down. We're not very good at climbing though.
Isn't that where like every round it has to roll to see whether or not it wants to fight us? Or it's like there's something where it could fight us, right?
Kyle says no.
Okay, for some reason I thought there was
It's
something.
just a summoned guy.
Okay.
It's just a cool guy.
That's also a really good thing as a distraction or a like, oh no, we gotta run this way, but there's some guys chasing us. Fight this, and we run, right?
Hold the door. Yeah.
Kevin can spider climb.
Yeah, that's true.
We've all tried climbing walls, and it has gone poorly.
Multiple times.
I could, in theory. How tall is this cliff, Kyle? Like, are we talking like multiple hundreds of feet?
Good question.
From this point, I mean, yeah, it's multiple hundreds.
Okay.
Probably like 300.
Okay.
Maybe 4.
That gives us some context. Falling from that is too much. I don't know that we can risk falling from that. We are not the wild cards. Have
not Wally and Val plummeting the city.
Yeah.
Watch camping.
The alternative of going through everything could be really tough as well. We just need to make sure we could do that if we have a really solid distraction or a really solid method to sneak it past things.
We're probably better at being sneaky than climbing down something. Because I can cast Pass Without a Trace, +10.
Yeah. I'm concerned our climbing skills, if history has taught us anything, are bad.
I'm not impressive. No.
Unless someone had another trick, like if everyone is spider climb, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, spider climb's so cool.
How long would it take us, Kyle, if we just did decide to get down to good times from now? Because it's still is it afternoon now? Mid-morning?
It's about afternoon at this point.
Okay.
You've got another half hour of kind of sailing, and if you hustled, you could tighten that up to get to good times. About the same if you just try to make your way across the rock here, just walking. So about another half hour to get within cover, and then you'd be about an hour to come. Well, not quite even an hour. Another half hour, 45 minutes, just to on foot make your way down to the edge of this encampment and towards the arch, the entry into the mountain. Probably another 45 minutes from good times, maybe.
Mr. DM.
Also, if you're stealthing, obviously double that.
Yeah.
Did you say it looks like activity is ramping up somewhere? More or less, I'm gauging now. I think I used a second to get all the people out past the trace. I think I'm down a first and a second. So if we're more or less, I'm trying to gauge out a game. Is it worth trying to take a long rest here? Or does it feel like the activity is ramping up and something bad is churning up?
Based on kind of honoring a little bit of the crazy kind of brainwave Andy trying to piece together all the puzzle pieces in the last game and watching what you're seeing play forth in front of you, you're seeing a lot less of the individual minions, the spawn, the husk spawn and the beasts, but you're seeing a much greater growth in these eggs, which is essentially them kind of amalgamating into larger, more powerful creatures. What has spawned that metamorphosis, that decision, you're not entirely sure. However, picking up what you saw in the last game at the end, the creatures who did these kind of hulking creatures, these more powerful versions, where the lava was spewing into the city from your explosion in the molten anvil, they seem to be absorbing that energy. And DeCrane has noted a significant primordial energy more than just standard lava. There seems to be an additional primordial kind of ancient power within the lava itself. So knowing these creatures feed on energy, it seems to be empowering them and perhaps hastening this amalgamation, this decision to make stronger their army rather than a bunch of individual small guys. Let's have a bunch of big tough guys.
So let's not long rest. This feels like it's ramping up to something bad.
If there's anything, I don't know if anyone's used anything else. I haven't used anything that can be achieved by a short rest, but has anyone else?
Nope. I still got my wild shapes.
Okay. Yeah, because I can get a spell slot back, but I haven't used any yet today. So that's the only short rest thing I can achieve. I do have, admittedly, the one merchant guy gave me a pouch of something that seemed like it might be useful. He's like, maybe this will help. So I need to identify it. So I need at least 10 minutes somewhere quiet. But outside of that, I don't know that I have anything that would take time and prep. Unless that thing, whatever it is, takes time and prep.
My only question would be, are in your planning, are you going in the immediacy, knowing that things are ramping up, that you want to do this in daylight, or are you looking for the cover of night to aid a sneaking mission? Obviously, that gives you 7 hours before dark falls.
My concern is if it's dark, they can see in the dark, and we cannot all see in the dark.
Bunnies can.
Just noting, obviously, harder to stealth during not dark.
Daylight. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think it's tough, though, that then if Al needs to shoot. What were you going to say, Al?
No, I also learned pass without a trace as well. So if we need extra,
Right.
That's huge.
we've got it.
That's good, especially if Scott's already used 2 spells.
What if we snuck down there? I don't think we should wait for night, because then Allie and I can't see And if Ali's shooting range, that's tough. So we could sneak down now to try and get to around to the front of the waterfall. Al, if you use your pass without a trace, that could save me a spell slot, and then
we could do that.
So instead of going to post up at good times, just continue that path down and around.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it's hard when obviously we can't see the exact layout where we'd be landing. Would we be, I mean, it's a big open body of water. Would we be clear to see coming for a while, or the way of us coming around, even if we were to go to good times, would that be sheltered or from sight in any way?
So, sorry, where are you?
If we're coming in by boat. If we're coming in by boat.
You're not coming in by boat to good times?
Is that the
water's up top? Remember, it's a big raised basin at the base of the cliff of which the city extends out from, and the encampment is at the base of the cliff. You guys are looking from 300 feet up. The water continues south.
Gotcha.
In this
and good times, for some reason, I thought was lower, but I guess not.
Good times is on the east side, up on a hill where the road and hill meets up with us and then continues into the basin. So that's the road you'd have to take to get down if you're going to go by foot. And essentially to go that way is the long way, but it will require a longer stealthing journey because you'll have to get through like this much of the encampment via stealth versus the direct drop here, which is a different challenge in that it's stealth and climb. So you're challenged no matter what. This is D&D.
I don't like stealth and climb. Stealth and climb scares me.
Stealth and climb is very scary.
So regardless, you'd have to make your way over to the east side to come down. Otherwise, you're climbing. So like you have to get your way around there. You don't have to stop at good times. That's just what we talked about before. That is kind of neither here nor there. If you wanted to post up for 10 minutes to do your identify, that's a safe place to take 10 minutes. Not going to cost you the end of the world here. So that would be kind of where Andy would think, like, if you're going to do this kind of ritual stuff, you would instinctively rather do it undercover. And then if there's anything else to prepare, you've got 10 minutes in there for any preparations. And if you're stealthing right from good times, which would be wise, you've got at least an hour of stealthing to get to. You'd have about half an hour of stealthing to get to like the edge of the war camp, and then half hour of stealthing through the war camp.
Through the war camp may be scary. Jesus Christ! I don't know how we're
think
going
we
to
do that. Let's do our little mission to GTs, good times, GTLs, good time landing, gym tan lunch, and then we could do a little identify, maybe prep some stuff. We could see when we want Coulson to prep his magic sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How long is that good for? 10 minutes or 1 minute? Oh, I lost. There we go.
Coulson's back, baby.
Clicker. The magic weapon spell lasts for an hour.
Okay.
So
don't want to do it too soon, but yes, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to jump the gun on that and then have it fade before you get into the battle. What's going on? That's weird. Okay. Then you guys continue on to good. There's easy enough for you to do. Takes another half hour of trekking your way over there, and unobstructed. There's no real way for them. You've not seen anybody kind of they've not been using. They have some of the flying spawn, like flying creatures who have been here, who they have in the same way that you faced before, but they've not been using them as like sentinel or aerial perspective. Whether that's just not been needed, they're not concerned. You're not sure, but you've make your way to Good Times Landing, safe and sound. Tuck yourselves inside, and are able to go for any preparations as Andy sits down to begin ritual casting identify on this little pouch given to her by this noble Kabir. Is there any other kind of prep stuff that you guys wanted to do, the other four?
Is there anything else that needs identifying while I'm doing this? I don't think so, but no one else has new mystery items that we don't know what they are?
I
No.
want to get a custom katana built.
I can look at something and give you the Wikipedia article on it. That's about it.
That's not as handy as like a
I essentially want one katana attached to another katana.
I knew you were gonna say this.
So it's like a Darth Maul dual wielding katana, and then I can detach them whenever I want. And dual.
Now you want the mini one.
and then attach them back and then swing it as like a double katana.
I support this. This sounds amazing.
Wasn't that like, didn't Kevin have a double-bladed scimitar? Is that the one that got all fucked up?
Kevin
Nah,
still
it's
has.
completely different.
It's healed, but it's completely different.
I think it's not influenced by anything. I thought of it myself.
I think Brock's smithy stone thing, the whetstone, maybe we should do it a little closer to the war camp. Because if it only lasts an hour and it might take like a half hour, 45, we should just maximize our chance there. So maybe don't use it now.
Mm-hmm. I will say I was looking quickly just to clarify what Leah was saying about the Stoneforged Guardian, the Guardian Stone that you have, the Feldspar. It does cast the Conjure Elemental spell, creating the Stoneforged Guardian. It is friendly to you and your companions for 1 hour, but you have to maintain concentration on that friendliness. It rolls initiative, it has its own turn. If you lose concentration, it doesn't go away. Instead, it could become hostile to anyone. So that's what Leah was saying. It wasn't a check, but it can become hostile if you lose concentration. Now you can still do that and use that to your advantage. Just willfully dropping concentration while it's surrounded by enemies. It's probably just going to continue attacking the enemies with your friendlies away. But if friendlies are in the area, in theory, it might. I'll roll randomly for what it goes for. It's not going to have allegiance to anything, right? So, and then the one last reminder that when used, roll a d20. If you roll a 1, it's done forever.
Hate that. Leah, do you have a lot of concentration stuff?
I don't have a lot of concentration stuff.
So maybe you should have it, because all of my stuff's concentration, really.
Yeah, I have 2 concentration spells, 3 concentration.
And then, like Al, I think you have Hunter's Mark's probably concentration.
Yeah.
So maybe it makes sense if Leah
Rangers and druids are plagued a little bit with the concentration. I will say it can be activated by non-casters.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I wonder if one of the guys can take it.
However, if they're in melee, they're also going to get hit a lot.
That's true. Yeah, you're going to get hit a lot more.
True.
And it's
proficiency in
cons. Yeah,
it's con save, so they'd have proficiency in it.
They're probably taking more damage though.
A lot more rolls.
I also have a spell where if we're in the shit, I can put up mirror image. So in theory, I might not be taking damage at all. So that could potentially help. I just looked. I have like 3 spells that I could cast that could be concentration, but it's not as many as you have. So
you take it.
Okay.
I've been thinking, and this scares me. I've never used it, but I think you should have it because you're so brave, and you should take this.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Sorry, you were doing your weird
mid-ritual
studying.
Yeah,
so
mid-ritual.
I'll talk to you after. I'll talk to you after I was giving you a gift.
Yeah, give me 9.5 minutes.
You guys go through the rest of your gear, like sharpening blades, just like counting arrows, the classic like getting ready for battle montage. And after about 10 minutes, you come to find that this little packet of kind of crystal-y dust is dust of disappearance. The powder resembles very fine sand, and there's enough in this pack for 1 use. You can throw it into the air, and you and each creature and object within 10 feet of you become invisible for 2d4 minutes. So it's a quick 2d4 minutes of invisibility, equal across everyone. However, the breaking invisibility rules still count for everyone. So if you make an attack, cast a spell, interact in some way with something negatively, invisibility breaks for that creature, not for the group.
So could that work in theory for all of us? How many people could it hit?
Everyone within 10 feet, easy.
So if we got really close, we could cast that.
It only works for a couple minutes, though.
It's a random amount of minutes as well. You don't know. Yeah. But it's a minimum 2.
Yeah.
2d4 is a minimum 2 minutes, maximum of 8 minutes. So not like a massive window, but it could be either a quick, we're running dust, or if you want to try and like hasten a stealth approach, you could have a couple of minutes to make it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Invisible.
That's huge. I'm gonna write it down.
Something to think.
Okay, cool.
Disappearance.
But you will have anywhere from 2 to 8 minutes.
Do you mind if Ali, do you mind posting up in the top during this to try to because your perception's good, right? To try to get a view of if there's anything else happening, if there's any movement, if there's anything else, any routes that we might need to take?
Sure, yeah.
Good.
You
Perception check.
Okay.
Oh no, Decrane's perception's not great. Never mind.
18.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, for 10, 15 minutes, you kind of just post up, give yourself a good bird's eye view, clambering up over the edge, and almost up onto the roof, even just hopping up just to get even a little higher with your little bunny legs, just trying to get as much view as you can and keeping yourself covered. The unfortunate issue is positioning is this is kind of up the hill, so the cliff is blocking back where you want to go directly. You can't see the arch, you can't see the majority of the war camp from here. You can see where the road descends, and the road that you came up on here will continue directly into the war camp. So you just have one direction to follow, and it seems for the time being this section of town seems entirely quiet, seems entirely abandoned. You can still see the action happening, fire, smoke spewing from your explosion about 9 or 10 blocks north of the first edge of town. So not so close that you'd be worried, close enough that you want to move a little quickly. And the fire is spreading, notably, but not in a rapid south direction. The fire is spreading more north. And with an 18, you can see just over this 10-minute period, you actually watch one of these kind of hulking creatures make their way back, walking down the street, and you're able to see it's return, it's slow kind of gait, this big heavy creature moving, not with any rush or pace, but you can see fire flickering within the sinew ooze of its flesh. You can see the magma is within the creature, as if taking that in and making it more powerful.
Great. Great.
It continues south and out of sight. South as in towards you guys. You guys are south, towards the war camp.
It's going towards the war camp? Fuck.
Seems to be.
We should go. We should try and get in there.
Go where though? We gotta get in. It's just a road. Anyone can go there. There's not a lot of cover.
Ray and I will try and do our best to make us as sneaky as possible, and then just see what happens. Actually, I think Nettie's gonna try and make us as sneaky as possible. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I got it. Don't worry. I'll make us. Yeah, we're good.
Her and Toot Sweet are gonna make sure we're safe.
It'll be we will pass out of grace.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
It just came to me.
I like it. No, it's really neat.
Yeah, you should definitely trademark that one.
I'm going to.
Don't sue us.
So this bag of dusty things can help us, but only for a couple minutes. It might make us extra stealthy, basically invisible, but not for long. So I think it's either emergency, case of emergency, we got to be really close together, or it can be okay, here's the plan, we're going to use it right now, and we're going to figure it out. You're really good at healing people, right? I guess you should have this, and I'm going to pull out the diamond that I got from, I think, the Wizard's Tower. We found a diamond somewhere. It's 500 gold. It is one Revivify 8 size diamond. I give it to you.
Okay. Is this for the weird totem statue thing I gave you?
No, this is for if the worst happens.
Okay. Thank you. I'll make sure whatever happens, Ray and I's light, I'll make sure you guys are okay. Unless it's me, in which case. Uh-oh.
You might be in trouble. Just don't. Yeah, just stay Stacey, you got it. You got this.
I was thinking, so if we go in there and plant the rod, and then Andy, you might have to go through whatever trial you went through last time. Mm-hmm. And when that was happening, the Crane and I had to fight off a bunch of scary ghosts. It was crazy. Heads up for that, Coulson. That's gonna be fun for you. And then afterwards, I think the Immortal Man said to contact him. Remember, with like a scroll. What I'm wondering is, like, just what's gonna happen? Do we do the rod and then all these things attack us, or should we try and do something first and then do the rod?
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that if we know what it is we're going to get into until we're there. We don't know what it is. True. Inside this thing. We don't know if there's something else. Last time there was like a guy in a portal thing that was opening up, and a bunch of creepy, like, there's the crane got picked up by a giant vulture-looking thing, and
yeah, he was like his backpack.
We didn't know any of that until we got there, and then we were really stupid and been like, we don't need to rest. Let's go do the wild thing right now. And we had to use the scroll. That's what the scroll's for. It's not for getting in touch with them. It's for making
You're right. We
did that after. Basically, if we end up having to fight something and deal with something, and then we get the chance to do the rod after, if we can get a break in between, that would be great.
Okay. Let's start working our way down so we just kind of start knowing what the variables are.
Okay, I got absolutely nothing to help us in the sneaky situation.
Halfway through getting down, we'll take a little post up. Maybe before we get in the city proper or something, we'll see if we can find a place. Reassess. Coulson, you could use the whetstone, make sure your sword's all spickety-span, and then we do our thing. Coulson, do you have a name for us? Something we could call ourselves on this mission?
The whetstones.
Oh.
I'm not huge on how damp that first word sounds.
I like it.
Of course you do, DeCrane. Of course you do. You absolute freak. Cool, let's go.
Okay. Is anyone casting Pass Without Trace for this leg of the journey, or just making your way down? It seems to be based on Enid's perception, it seems to be the least watched road.
Okay. I mean, we can
save it. You're certainly going to want it later down, but in theory, using Augustus's plan there, you could find a good position just before you need to make the turn into sketchier territory. You've seen these places. You've already passed multiple points of doing this walk. So if you wanted to, you could certainly risk going this length of it without, but obviously it's safer to do so with. So it's up to you guys, but spell slots.
Save it? Maybe?
Yeah.
For funsies?
I can save it.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Stealth check all around with no bonuses, please.
Okay.
Admittedly, this is a much easier DC. At this length, it's going to be a DC 10.
Well.
8.
Yeah.
Oh, natural 20.
Nice. Andy.
22.
We are in the clear unless
17.
success. Even a natural 1 on DeCrane would still succeed based on the other
Come on, nat 1.
and nearly a nat 20. So collectively, emboldened by your leveling up and your experiences here, except Augustus, classically, you guys make your way down the hill into the kind of, there's like smaller cottages and things that rise up along the hill that have sustained far less like damage and experience here, as they've just been outside of the major city, only small kind of homesteads. Similar in to the east side, though certainly on this side much closer to the war camp than it was towards Gilbert's. But within the first couple of blocks of like where the city itself, of the town, really starts to begin to pick up, you can see the small cobblestone road begin to flow, and low, half couple 2-foot wall of stone that begin to kind of mark the outlines of various businesses and a couple of homes within the main city center here. Again, quiet. You've been making slow progression down this way, but you've not heard much of anything. You've certainly not seen any skittering in the shadows, what little there are. but every now and again you do still feel that faint kind of thrum through the stone, especially the closer you get to where this point where you're going to like post up. There's now a more concentrated kind of thrum of vibration. Difficult to kind of explain and pinpoint. Like it's not something commonly felt or understood, but you can definitely feel some energy, some shift, some earth movement. And at that point, you guys are able to easily post up within. You're free to find a shop or a house that you can easily duck inside of that is damaged, but not so much that you'd be in any trouble. And if you want something with a really good kind of view of where you need to go, I would require someone to throw me an investigation check. Otherwise, you can post up in any old building.
I can try. My investigation's good.
Sure.
Mine's trash.
It's only a 12.
So it's fine. It's maybe not the best position, but it's not the worst. Gives you decent sight lines in and able to fit you all comfortably with like some, heavily stained glass windows, but you can still kind of see out of the war camp at this stage. Kind of is at the very reaches on this side. You're seeing several of these now dried, kind of rising, stepped in pools of like that were these like pools that would have cascaded down from the waterfall, would have been bathing and rejuvenating pools and all these kinds of things. Now long dried and more or less abandoned. And you can see just where the road continues, this cobblestone road continues all the way along the breadth and then drops down into just dry earth, dry cracked earth that is now spider-webbed with this fleshy black tendrilish web woven amongst the large amalgamous eggs and the few straggling spawn beasts that you can see from at this distance just every so often moving between those random bits of structures and buildings that were at one point on this side on the edges of where the waterfall and the basin of where the waterfall flowed. What purpose they serve, long lost, as they are just rubble at this point. But for the most part, it is a barren, no man's land with a relatively loose patrol, but open terrain under a hazy but daylight haze.
I'm glad you gave them a name, because I've been trying to think of something to call these guys, and spawn beast is terrifying, but I was like, gooper guy? Like, I don't know. We need to call these things. We just keep calling them the monsters. But
yeah, the spooky scaries.
The creepy crawlies.
Crawlies is good.
Lobby dudes.
Ink blots. Okay, well, we just have to make an insane stealth ride through their patrol and find out what comes after that.
Try to think if there's anything that we can do to prepare, and I keep coming up dry.
Can Brock use his... sorry, what did you say to Crane?
Just be ready to fight.
I always am, because of you. Maybe Brock, you can use your whetstone?
It's only an hour.
Let's get wet.
New weird catchphrase.
Really trying to get the whetstones thing.
I think that's our new name. I think that's our new name.
That's not hard now.
No.
I will ask either like Enid or Augustus or any of you actually, Colson, you're able to throw in there if you want a perception or survival check just to get like the distance you've got to travel here, just to give you guys a good time.
Both of mine are +3. Perception and survival. What do you think?
Mine's plus...
If it's both +3, it's kind of 6-1.
I just did survival. I got 13.
Okay.
I'm doing survival. I got 22.
Way better, buddy.
Way better. Enid, please, if you want to throw out something as well, feel free.
I'll do perception.
Sure.
12.
It's all right.
The bunnies aren't rolling great tonight.
No.
Folks.
honestly, the position here is not the best, unfortunately, and the range of your eyes can only tell you so much. However, Coulson has the advantage of home turf. This is his area. He knows this terrain, and he's battled these creatures. He's seen the rise of this war camp and watched it from afar over the entirety of its stay within town. So, Coulson, you're well aware of the layout of this town and how long you travel via stealth to accomplish things. And traveling via stealth can be done in a quick stealth kind of way that is clearly not like ideally stealthy, but you can kind of move with relative pace while ducking in and out of shadow, or taking your time and being properly stealthy, choosing your points and dodging as best you can the eye and ear of anything on its way. From this position here to where the waterfall is and to where these guys are saying this arch is, and you've seen this arch where these creatures emerged from initially, is at a brisk, like straight walk pace, 10-15 minutes. Like, not significant, but that's like a beeline straight from right here if you were to book it. So double that at least for a fast stealth. And if you're going to be really careful, you're looking more for 45 minutes to like really pick your way carefully across the best position here. So half an hour is still in the cards. I just hear fireworks. It's a Friday in the middle of fucking nowhere. What are we doing here?
The whetstone is only an action, so you don't have to like take a minute to do it. So it might be worth to like hang on to it.
Yeah, maybe wait.
If it's like 45 minutes and then something happens and it's stalled, we've like used it up.
Why don't we do the super slow stealthy? Maybe you cast what did you call it? You had a name for it, something.
What, the spell that'll like make us pass without a trace?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. If we could do that.
A trace.
I'm really coming around to that name. Like it's actually, it's pretty great.
Maybe a party name.
I came up with it myself.
Our party name is Traceless.
The Traceless. Oh, I like that.
Writing it down.
Zero impact everywhere we go.
Please name our party in the comments.
With the intention to take the slowest possible route, 40-ish minutes of stealthing. The DC is slightly lower because you're going to be taking special care, but it is measured by the daylight in which you're traveling and the lack of cover in which you'll have. Again, measured by the aid of +10 to your stealth, kind of comes out into a relative comfortability. Password Trace is going to help you be as obscured as possible via magic. And the way I like to envision it, but Allie, it is your spell, when traveling in daylight, is just a faint, thin veil of invisibility. Like, I do kind of think of, like, rather than trying to like make you more shadowy, it's more dulling the opacity of the people shrouded by it. I think
almost like one of the like mirages, like when it's hot.
It feels a little bit more fey, of just kind of like becoming a little ghostly almost.
What does it look like when you cast it though, Allie? How do you think it like happens?
Okay, so I go, all right guys, watch this. And then from kind of like radiating, it's almost like, like a veil of smoke, but it's like light, almost like a creamy thin veil, and it just like washes over us.
Love it.
Slowly comes down, but it has like a fae-esque feel to it. And then she's just kind of like, oh, that's actually cooler than I thought.
It was so
That's like the most graceful thing I think you've ever done.
I think so. I didn't know I was capable of anything graceful.
You're getting so strong. It's so cool.
Everything now a little bit thinner in the veil. Let's begin our first stealth check of what will become a relatively lengthy stealth group challenge.
Okay.
This first leg, I would like someone to roll a d4 for me first.
Oh no.
Force Allie to do it. Allie does it.
Allie, roll me a d4.
Yeah, get that real stuff out.
I have to for this.
Get the
And
math
everyone
out.
can also roll a stealth check.
Okay.
With adding plus 10 with passive trace.
Oh, you motherfucker.
32.
It was at 17.
32.
Well, I got 22. You said add 10, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's a great roll.
Oh,
Okay.
22 for me.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 2.
For the D4? Okay.
Oh, okay. Fuck. I thought it was yourself. I was like, oh no.
No.
29.
DC roll a stealth.
DC and Enan, I need stealth from you.
I have 27, but I'm at disadvantage for stealth.
You indeed are. Thank you for
Because of armor?
Of
Yeah.
the heavy armor.
So 25.
Okay.
Still pretty good.
Very respectable.
What did you get, Nettie?
I got a 7.
That's
Plus.
okay. It becomes a 17.
10.
Oh, true. Okay, perfect.
Becomes 17. So still, by and large, your team has bailed out the lowest roll of the 17, which is still good in its own right. 17 is nothing.
Very focused on the spell.
Yeah, you were focused.
Working hard.
And perhaps focused on the concentration of it so long that you guys begin to get your first kind of steps into the camp. You realize you are not leaving a trace. There's no footsteps to follow. However, what does follow and is not obscured is your scent and your sound. Though the sound is dull, the scents are pulled ever so slightly. As you begin to take the first couple of few minutes in here, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, you're getting closer, very carefully moving from kind of crouched beneath a stack of kind of barrels and crates that would have been here from before the encampment here, then dodging up to the remains of a burned home. You watch as 2 of those large hounds that have become part of these creatures, these spawn, their jaws hanging loose and some of the black spittle just drooling out of their mouths. And they're just... and they just kind of are sniffing and seem to have caught something. You all held your breath, and they make their way without really getting too close to you. Continue on. I will need another round of stealth checks. You passed 1 success.
Okay.
And I will now need... let's get Scott, roll me a d4.
I just rolled a nat 20 for stealth, too. Woo!
Okay,
About time.
that's plus
About 2. Roll D4, you got it.
Yes, please.
Come on, math rocks. Do I have math rocks in you? Yeah, I do.
And stealth checks all around for the rest of you. So
I got another 2. Do you want me to roll
Okay.
again, or are you okay with that?
no, it's fine.
That's a 23.
Okay.
Plus 10?
3.
I added it. I rolled 13.
Still good.
32.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. DC at disadvantage, unfortunately, and Andy.
Roll a 13.
Okay.
That's,
16.
30.
Andy.
Oh, bad.
And
See what-
roll a 14.
Okay. Again, you are by and large performing well. However, Andy, at one point, the group is, you're trying to travel as quickly as you can together. However, Andy, stealth is not necessarily your forte, and you end up lagging ever so slightly, needing to kind of fall back and not making a break for it with the rest of the group across an expanse as you watch one of these kind of like large flying, perhaps at one point a hawk or eagle that has now its wings split in 2 each side, 4 wings, black sinew between its beak and like throat are all exposed as it too has befallen this parasitic entity, and it just is full head on a swivel, eyes out. And I will need an additional, this is going to be a contested roll between you and I. An additional stealth versus an additional perception. It has advantage naturally, but your pass without trace is going to obviously give you a +10. So let's see what happens.
Come on, Andy.
It's a good roll.
Fuck.
I rolled okay. I rolled good. I didn't roll excellent, but I rolled good. 28.
Okay.
That's really
It was a 19 on the die, but only a +4.
Oof. Great job, Andy.
The creature waits and watches, and you wait it out. Patience getting the better of the situation. The rest of you continue, but your passive perceptions are strong enough to realize that Andy is not with you. You don't get too far before the passive trace would get pulled from her, exposing her. And the creature flies off to another position, and you're able to catch up. Another round of stealth checks as we get to the halfway mark.
Oh man, halfway? Jesus.
This is so stressful.
Oof.
And I'll ask for Brock to throw me a d4 when you have finished your stealth check, please.
I just rolled a natty 20.
Oh.
25, so 35. Sorry, what'd you need me to roll?
A d4, please. Just a flat d4 to see which
D4,
creatures could be on this path.
3.
Okay, perfect.
Are we still getting +10?
Everyone still has +10. Unfortunately, you still have disadvantage.
29.
Nat 20,
Nice.
29, 27.
36 first roll.
Everyone.
Roll again, but holy shit.
19 second roll.
Still strong. And Enid?
29.
Perfect.
Nice. Great. Really high rolls for most of us.
So, unfortunately, Decrane lagging ever so slightly in that one. Slightly. The point that you're at now, you're seeing things begin to expand out from less of like making your way through like homes and things, and now you're down into the open kind of flat rock bed of what was the riverbed and like lake bed of this kind of offshoot of the waterfall. That is now entirely dry, and dust is kicking up around you guys. While Pass Without Trace is doing its best to kind of contain as much as possible, there is a little bit of like kind of dust kicking up around your movements as you're making your way, trying to quickly rush across certain areas of open terrain. And Decrane, at one point, you rush in ahead of everyone and hold position, kind of shoulder in against just the corner of a broken stone wall. It's just two corners, but the walls are rubble on the other sides, but enough to give you a little bit of cover. And you peer your head up and out, and as you kind of slam into the wall, taking position, your gear just kind of clatters and clangs a little bit against the stone. And as you kind of peer out around the rock, one of the Usk spawn, this humanoid dwarven figures whose upper, like from the cheekbone up, is entirely gone, and just a writhing tentacle mass of black tendrils rising from the head, kind of turns its head up, rising from the stone on the other side, and you pull yourself back down into the shadows. But I will need a contested stealth versus its perception against you. Its perception is much worse.
Okay.
It doesn't have eyes, but so a DC is significantly easier here for you, but I still roll for it on the off chance that you have to beat a 13.
It's like a
Come on, Decrane. Let's do it.
You still have disadvantage on this, unfortunately.
18
Okay. Okay.
and
Don't be a 1.
5 second roll.
What's your stealth naturally?
7.
So we're without Pass Without Trace, this erupts into a bit of conflict. but with the blessings of Enid, your enough of your aura, your sound, your steps are shrouded, and this creature rises up and just toddles off to another position. And you see 2 or 3 more kind of trail behind it as these just kind of shambling around, looking like kind of aimlessly, very, very twitchy. But you're able to dodge that round.
Here's the question: does the crane recognize that magic?
Was you?
Or is he just like, God damn, I'm so cool, and he doesn't realize that magic saved his ass again?
Mostly that.
I think he's just wishing there was a fight. More than anything.
Maybe I should shoot this thing in the face.
This world is a magical, mysterious place. I don't know how it works.
That's fair.
The final check, as you have kind of reached this point, catching up with the crane, now like deeply in the encampment, you see the rise ahead of you, like the cliffs begin to kind of step up, all kinds of these kind of now entirely like dried pool beds, and a kind of natural step up of stone in a couple tiers before an unnatural, a man-made archway into the wall of this cave has been carved into the stone. This clearly, dwarven inspired in its kind of design. You can see there is like the very angular but beautiful in terms of its the archway construction, very old, and naturally falls within the cavernous wall that would have been heavily obscured by mist and a waterfall at one point in time. No longer so. This will be the final check. This is the hardest DC, and is through purely open terrain, and will step up into up on the open rock platforms up into the cavern and beyond. For this DC, it is going to be a DC 20, which is, with Pass Without Trace, not impossible by any stretch.
Do we think it's dust time? Or are we saving dust? Because we don't know if we're going to need it again inside this cave.
Might need it in the cave.
I will ask for also just perception check from anyone who wants to, just at this point as you're kind of about to take your final few steps, see if there's any other elements that you can spy.
Rolling
8. Do I add 10 to this?
No.
Unfortunately, no.
I've been rolling so bad on perception. 11.
11, okay.
I add
I
8
rolled
to this.
I have advantage. I rolled a 2 and a 19. So
Way
that's
better.
I have dark
21.
vision, 60 feet. Does
How
that?
many feet? How many
does that
feet?
do anything?
Right. It's relatively bright day here.
It's 2 in the afternoon.
This is perception?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of just like an open roll, like if you wanted to see what you can see.
Okay,
not much
that
to
one.
see.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah, it's good to get that out of the way before the important stealth roll. With the 19 on the die plus a bunch.
Plus 2. I don't know that much.
No, it's not that much. I thought it was more. So 21, very good roll. Just as you are kind of gauging the threat, looking for any other things, everyone's looking to the path, looking to immediacy. Around here is the highest concentration of the active creatures that you've seen. This next leg is actively patrolled. You can see 3 of those more skilled, military style spawn you faced yesterday in good times. You see 3 of them in various positions, perched up on a rock, just kind of like overlooking in kind of a 3-point stance. You see beside them a hound creature that is nestled down, like jaw split in 3 ways. Up on the top of a ruined building, you see a different kind of flying one of these creatures. It seems to be a little bit more insectoid, like a mutated, massive, like bee or hornet or something like that, or more likely an amalgam of these kinds of creatures. And walking through amongst the open terrain here, with the 6 to 10, depending on what time you decide to make a go for it, various humanoid and bestial spawn. So easily a dozen combatants within arm's reach on your trajectory. And I want to point out one last thing. You don't have great cover, so there's not time to hole up. This is all happening within like 15 seconds at most.
So how long of a walk do you think this last chunk is?
You got like 3 minutes.
Oh, fuck, we gotta roll good.
We could dust it. We could go dust style.
If there's nothing to hide behind, I'm just concerned if we don't have anything else.
Let's dust it. Let's get dusty.
Okay.
With the dust would give you advantage on stealth checks, obviously. It would make perception checks at you disadvantage. Obviously, you can't be seen. Stealth with +10. It would all but guarantee your way through unless a massive comedy of errors occurs.
Sounds like a party name.
Remember, we can't attack anything, and you can't cast spells while you are invisible. Anything else is okay, but you can't attack and you can't cast spells.
Let's dust it.
Okay. Let's try.
Dust me.
I'm rolling a d4. Or
Two.
Kyle, do you want to roll it? Doesn't matter.
No,
2d4.
2d4. 2d4. Go ahead.
That's a 2.
Okay.
That's a 4.
6
6
minutes.
Minutes.
You've got 6 minutes. So, on my side, I'm going to be rolling a couple of checks on my own, just to see if there's any way that any of these creatures could see you, regardless of what you roll.
Mhm.
It's not a perfect system, right? So, like, just if, like, essentially, if any of them roll a nat 20 twice, like, there's
Like
a
the
chance they
wind
could come
shifts
forward.
and it's blowing, the smell there, there's all sorts of shit,
These
right?
creatures are unnatural, so like they're not relying purely off of sight, but you're giving all the advantages to yourself, so everything is going your way. But I need everyone to roll stealth advantage +10.
Roll stealth advantage at 10. Kev, you just do straight roll.
Yeah, yours isn't just not at disadvantage.
15.
Great.
31.
Nice, Nettie.
I did get a nat 20.
Ooh.
24.
A lot of
Is that with
Okay.
advantage?
Oh. $24.
Not the second one. I got 29.
I
Okay,
got 27.
we're missing one.
Kev?
Nettie?
Yeah.
Kev
Oh,
got
Kev did a
25.
15 on the die.
Holly?
+7.
Yeah, Enid.
Oh shit, even higher, yeah.
So that's 31.
30.
Hell,
Yeah.
31, great.
With the aid of the invisibility, as soon as you throw the dust out, it's a glitter of dust that does catch the daylight, of sparkle, like diamond dust, like a sparkle of diamond dust. Instantly, you watch one of the more military figures who is closest, like heads on a swivel, and begins calling people over. Kind of all of you begin to be a little terrified, but watches each of you fades and disappears entirely from sight. You know the invisibility has taken hold, and begin just to like quietly make your way out and around through open terrain, open territory, just walking. But with the aid of Pass Without Trace, you leave no footprints, and with the blessing of this dust of disappearance, to the naked eye, you are gone. You guys just slowly fan out around the approaching kind of leader of the spawn, a bunch of these other like humanoid levels, and they're just calling out, giving orders, and just calling them to go and do things. The creatures calls over one of the kind of hounds to sniff and see if they can catch your scent. You are scot-free. You make your way up the cliff, up the sides of the rock. Every so often, a tumble of rock clatters, and you pause for a second. Seems to be fine. But the pace at which you've traveled and taken is longer than you expected. It's longer than that 3 minutes. It's about 5 by the time each of you makes your way inside the cavern. But each of you, at one point, you do kind of end up bumping into one another. You can't see each other. And there's no real sign, no way for any of you to beat the stealth rolls that were there. So you end up kind of crowding the entryway ever so slightly before stepping through the threshold. Beyond this threshold, you see a dome-like cave of 30 to 40 feet around, probably closer to the 40-foot side. Every surface in here you see glistening with pulsating ichor of the spawn sinew. Immediately, there are a series of 3 arches set into the stone of this cave. They are clearly dwarven style of their design. Or to the left and to the right are long caved in. You can see just like piles of rubble from an archway that you can just see, but full of stone and debris. There's one passage, however, likewise was caved in. You can see the signs of rubble. However, there now lays a bare, burrowed path through, clearly just blasted into. And through it, you see the faint glow of firelight. This faint kind of lighting from beneath down this path. In fact, as you step a few more steps into the space, where these tendrils of inky black kind of spiderweb across the floor and up around all the surfaces, very kind of Stranger Things in there, kind of like clinging to the surfaces of everything. You can just faintly see beads like veins of magma. I would like everyone to make a perception check for me.
27.
Nice.
14.
24.
Wait, you said perception, right?
Perception, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you
14.
crit, Allie?
13.
No,
That's one off.
my thing's +9.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's he rolling? Like, what's he up to back there?
The series of events are difficult to kind of break down in how they flow.
It doesn't sound good.
But you all have stumbled in here. The visibility beginning to wane. Andy, being the most analytical, like you've got a minute left on this. So you got time. You're in the doorway. You're just in the threshold. But everyone obviously would feel a trepidation of like entering into an unknown space as part of a war camp of alien creatures. Not exactly something you just want to do. You don't know exactly what you're facing here. And down a shaft of a mine shaft or whatever this is over here, question marks. So you hold kind of in the middle of this room. But Enid, ever perceptive and always looking for potential threats or things of intrigue. As you look back, nobody's following you. Your path thus far has been untouched. Traceless, as it were. But within, you look up and around just checking for threats. And it's hard to tell whether some of this like webbing and ichor, spider-like ooze shifts or moves of its own accord, or if it's another creature at first. But it definitely shifts and begins to drift down the side of one of the walls. You watch just a massive shifting glob of this black sinew and tar, similar to like a black pudding that you have faced in the Underdark. However, this you can see as it's shifting and moving, the black pudding is just a singular large pile of goo. This amalgam appears to be like maybe hundreds of smaller individual creatures all mashed in one and trying to move in different directions and different disconcerted energy. You see a mouth kind of begin to roar, eyes up, trying to scream and squeal, but pulled back within. You see an eye open and shut within, and slowly this amalgamation begins to like come down over the arch. But you have seen it before it has a chance to do anything. The rest of you have yet to see it. Enid, is there anything you do?
Is there anything I do? Oh my goodness.
And we're still invisible?
We're still invisible?
I will say you rolled incredibly high. So before you act, looking at the creature, looking at its movements, its slow, kind of methodical, like kind of drop. It's not coming directly at one of you, and it's not moving fast to attack, but its like interest is piqued. So perhaps the invisibility and your stealthiness has like even evaded its perceptions necessarily. But something has caught its eye, its nose, its ears, whatever, and is like it's coming to investigate.
How far close is Augie from me?
You're not sure he's invisible.
Oh no. True. Because like I say,
like recently bumped into each other. So
if I could like
close.
Slightly signal with my ears that he would get like, oh my god, don't move, don't move, don't move.
Well, everyone is invisible, unfortunately.
Oh no.
If you wanted to like reach out for the first person near you to see who they are, roll a d4.
Okay.
Scott's 1, Leah's 2, Kev's 3, Brock is 4.
1.
You instinctively reach out and catch hold of you feel the fringe of Augustus's jacket and the fur beneath. He's at your side. You still can't see each other, but you are side by side, close.
I'll just maybe feel in her grip that like tension, that like that scaredness.
Oh, if I know it's him, can I slightly just kind of like tap him with my ear, like, don't move. Don't move. Yeah. And I won't say anything.
I'll just sense that panic of the I'll just freeze, but I don't know what's going on, but I'm scared.
Okay. Both of you freeze and give yourselves the chance for another round of stealth checks. I will give them each to you at advantage. However, the rest of you, you still have advantage from being invisible, though that is going to fade here shortly. We roll the die. We roll the die to see
Let's do it.
Which side of that last minute you're on in this kind of initial break. You are covered from the camp behind. You're like up on the ridge. You're significantly spaced away. So the threat from the camp seems to be fading behind you. It's now this like new immediate like, what do you do here? So I think that there wouldn't initially. You feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you would initially just dive down a tunnel without stopping to collect yourselves and talk. So I think it would be fair to give the potential chance of that last minute running out. So that's what I'm rolling for. I will say I'll do an emphasis roll and I guess I'll do an emphasis roll with 2. So closer to 20 is fun. So that means the invisibility ran out. And 1 means the invisibility is still in action.
Come on, low.
Wait, that's exactly the same.
What was it?
It's a 15 and a 5.
Oh, right down the middle.
That's
10.
5 on either side.
So
how that works?
Yeah, It's just average?
Or is it just one? Is it supposed to just be a single
Well,
die
it'd be
instead of two?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So yeah, it's 5 on each side.
So that's what I just said. It's like right down the
Yeah.
middle. So it
Right
doesn't
down
help
the
me in this. In
Do
this
Do it
scenario.
again? I don't know.
I'm just going to do it with a single die.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys freeze, and you watch this amalgam kind of begin to drop and descend. And at this point is when the rest of you get the inkling of what this happened, because the sun begins to set behind you rapidly. As this dark shadow covers the entrance, and you turn to see a void of ichor just slowly cascading across the exit now to this cave, and like sealing it shut. Andy, you can feel you guys have only a few seconds left before this invisibility is going to wane. I will give you guys like 12 seconds, so 2 rounds before you know it's going to fall.
My instinct would be try to like back further into the cave, but I know we can't get far enough probably to get out of line of sight by that time.
This is basically an open dome. There's some rubble, but not like enough to cover 5 people. The only option is to go down that tunnel.
Yeah, and even then, like, we're not going to get that far in 12 seconds.
I mean, you can run obviously, but like you can move with haste, even quietly down this tunnel, to get out of immediate danger.
The thing is, I don't want to say anything out loud, so it's kind of more of like, what is each individually? What is your instinct? Like, what would you do? Because other than the bunnies, none of us know where each other is or anything.
You now at least all know the threat this threat that descended here. So we can do an elective. Everyone decide what you want to do over the next round or two.
Let's do that, because we don't know what each other's doing.
Free for all. What are you doing?
I think I would tug Nettie's hand and try and move her down away from that thing, because I'm scared of spooky, dark things.
Yeah. The two of you just begin to shuffle a little away.
Towards the tunnel.
Yeah.
Andy, DeCrane.
I already said my like instinct was to try to back away, to try to like put distance between this thing and.
Yeah. You also begin to go for the tunnel. DeCrane, Coulson, are you guys headed for the tunnel, or do you do anything differently?
Well, no one's sticking around.
You don't know no one's sticking around.
That's a good point.
No one else is acting.
Tunnel, baby.
Tunnel time.
Everyone begins to pull towards the tunnel, just as the invisibility begins to fade slowly from each of you. But all 5 of you are within the tunnel and out of sight. The passage before you is a carved step down into a tunnel. It's 10 feet wide, about 10 feet tall. You can see there are arches kind of beautifully done within classic dwarven architecture. But there is clear sign of rubble and rock that is like fallen, that should have completely obscured this path, that has been blasted and turned to tons of dust. Like you can see dust is everywhere here, as is a significant the entire tunnel is caked in that Stranger Things kind of webbing and black tar. But it continues down and away with the faint light at the end of the tunnel. You descend, and within the first couple of minutes, it grows quite warm. About 10 minutes of this descent down this stair, it kind of levels at certain points and descends again. But for the most part, it is like a 5-10 minute descent down these steps. You reach a junction where it opens up and levels out into a wide open space. There is basically, you're at the very top of a T junction, coming into the very top of a T at the top of the cross. You can see the upper part stretches kind of left and right from you, about 300 feet left and right. and the immediate long length you see extends some 500 feet and out of sight. There's very little light here, save the little bit of faint kind of veins of firelight that are coming off of the tendrils. But for the most part, the bunnies are having a lot of trouble seeing. The rest of you with dark vision are seeing relatively okay.
Bunny's just holding hands in the dark.
You are all now visible, clearly, seeing one another. You do.
Andy, did you already use the rod's ability to know like a good place to go?
I can only cast that spell once a day. I can only cast a spell through the rod once a day, and we used it to get people out.
Okay.
Yeah. I know.
It's either left, straight, or right. My thought would be go deeper straight into the mountain, but I don't know.
Is there any of these pathways that looks more ichory and gross? Because I'd imagine that's the one. I'm sure that we need to go.
I don't want to do that one.
I don't want to either, but 12. Oh, wait, I have an advantage. Thank you, Rod. Still 12. That was worse.
Your sight doesn't quite carry to the end of each of these paths. So you're not sure what lies left and right, not sure what lies directly straight. You do see lots of old mine carts, mining equipment, piles of rubble and earth kind of scattered around various ways. You can take a couple steps in each direction, just kind of getting a gauge for it. And this kind of ooze is across everything. However, it does seem like a greater concentration is along this main path that would be the length of the T, so to speak. And it seems to kind of run the length of a raised kind of mine cart track. And there are a wide causeway of several tracks that lead in various ways and can turn and pivot platforms. And it seems like this is a junction for mine carts to be coming from various places, or the mined ore and the stuff to be coming from various places and delivered around this area. But it seems to continue more concentrated down the length of this track.
Someone obviously did this before. You'd think gotten some little bit more specific instructions from Ludomir, but I guess not.
We could go back and ask him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, want to take a 2-week travel all the way down to the city and then come back? It's preferable to this, but
that's kind of what I think. But after that spooky thing went over the entrance, I think we got to keep going straight.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can really... That decision was made for us, I think.
Yeah.
We're not sure if these things branch off and we'll have to turn around. Maybe they meet up later on. I'm not really familiar with mining tunnels.
Me neither.
No one else has any other way to, like... I very specifically didn't take the spell that would give me a view down a tunnel.
Let's just walk down this tunnel. It's going to be fine.
We're going to do the middle one? What does everyone think?
Middle one has the spooky, scary stuff in it, and I think that's the direction we got to go.
Well, that as well. It seems to be the widest of the two. The top, was kind of wide, but this main section is like a pretty significantly wide stretch from side to side.
I could
go straight.
A couple bullets into it. See what happens.
Please.
No. Please don't do that. Like, it's going to make... We're in a tunnel. Sound echoes real bad.
My ears are so sensitive. They're so... I don't want it.
Also, we really don't want anything to know that we're coming. Or to follow us. There's a big army of undead or dead or reborn or goopy
scaries.
Gross guys. And I'd rather they not be like, oh, what's that big noise? Let's all go investigate together.
We're talking too loud. We should just walk down this main path.
We should probably just go.
Let's follow Coulson.
Follow down this path. It's wide enough that you don't need to walk single file, that's for sure. It's wide enough that you can easily walk as a group. are you walking stealthily though, or are you walking just kind of openly?
I think stealthily.
Sure. If you're walking stealthily, go ahead and make stealth checks.
Come on, guys.
You're still
Just
under
very
passive checks.
carefully, not to step on any tendril
Stinky things.
goop.
26.
21.
Great.
25.
Great.
Colson, stealth check.
20. Wait, do I still add 10?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
34.
Jesus.
And Decrane, was there a second of your...
Yeah, 20.
Okay.
First one was
Everyone
25, I think.
confidently making your way down this path. And it's not long before this this direction opens up into a much wider junction and a kind of like a large hall. Like it's a kind of arched domed roof. And you can see many more of these minecart kind of pathways lead off to a bunch of smaller rooms, but you can see significant amounts of like cave in and collapse in various parts here as well, along with spreading tendril as well. But there seems to be all kinds of various offshoots and pillars that have wound up and collapsed in areas, but continues along for 500 feet down this relatively large, long hallway that's kind of open, almost like a train station kind of feeling to it in a way. Before it comes to an end, you can see a couple of different there's tables and mine carts, and there's rooms that would have been taken off to one side for processing of various ore and stuff like that. But you come to the end of this long hall, and you see it descends a massive staircase with a number of tracks set within the staircase as well. And again, as you stand at the top of the staircase, just a of warmth. Even after this short time down here, it is unnatural. And after taking this journey, you know that there is going to be, in the next couple of steps, the risk of extreme heat.
Crane, you said that before you could feel weird elemental energy. Is that getting worse here?
It is getting stronger.
Great.
You can taste it in the air very clearly. And I would say if you wanted to make either an insight or survival check, you're welcome to see if it helps give you guys a better direction.
Ooh, okay.
So insight or survival, your choice.
I'll do that. My insight is 3. Survival, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Insight or survival, yeah.
9 and 6, 15.
Okay,
Decent.
with a 15. With a 15, your innate kind of sense of presence of energy and locating energy, seeing in this other level of dimension, you can see that it's now visible in the air, the element of this primordial flame, and it's just these faint sparks that no one else can really see, but it sparks in the air, and when it touches your skin and where you light on it, you can feel that faint kind of pulse familiar to you of energy, of primordial fire, and rare in this concentration. It's not just coming to a volcano. Not every volcano has this level of energy that you would be able to feed upon. So there's something additionally magical or powerful present here, but you can tell it is deeper. So anytime you're able to go deeper, you're getting closer. So standing at the top of the staircase, it seems like this is the right way.
This feels bad. Feels like it's getting bad.
We're gonna have to fight soon. Just be ready.
Okay.
Are there any preparations?
Maybe Gord, maybe Brock should do the sword thing. Don't show that label. We are not sponsored by Bubbly. If you'd like to sponsor us, Bubbly, Hexplorers, D&D@gmail.com.
Everyone at home, it's time for a bubbly break.
This is the kind of
Bubbly break.
this is the kind of free jingle you'd be getting if you actually sponsor us. Then it wouldn't be free.
Technically stolen from Body Break.
We
Is that a Canadian thing?
They
Yeah.
didn't sponsor this either. So
What was their name? Hal and what was the lady's name?
Joanne McLeod.
Yes.
We're cutting their names out of this. Body break. Okay. Should AC Colton Tedeschi.
Agent Coulson.
Agent fucking. I wondered where the AC came from. Should Coulson use your little smithy stone? Because last an hour, I think you probably should.
Yeah.
Let's get wet.
All right.
Stone, wet stone.
Let's get wet stoned.
It's pretty good. So
Easy enough as DeCrane is like ensuring that you're on the right path and gives everyone the kind of like the nod. The last minute preparations are made. Any spells being cast by the spellcasters?
bless only lasts a minute, right? Let me just look quick.
I have something that lasts 10 minutes. I just don't know we don't know how many minutes we have here.
No, of course you have no idea to know exactly how long. Like, but I would freely give you that. Like, if you have things that last an hour, much more comfortable.
Yeah. I don't know.
10 minutes or a minute. A minute doesn't feel good.
No.
You're just.
Yeah, bless only a minute's enough. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. If you had 10 minutes, you would maybe debate it. If you have an hour-long lasting things, that's where things should come in handy potentially. However, you look to continue. If there's no other preparations, you make your way down this massive kind of stairway. And again, with each step, and it's a long, it's an impressively wide staircase. Like, you could easily 100, 200 feet in length. Like, it's a massively wide staircase and runs down much further than that, like several hundred feet. You do see several different kind of like offshoots of various pathways set into the stone. And again, the minecart tracks are kind of raised within to bring things up and down. However, the very end of the stone stairs, you see another long hall that stretches left and right before descending once more. However, immediately beyond, there is a kind of a balcony to an open cavern that drops into darkness. About 30 feet off of the stone steps, you can see this drop into darkness. And a massive stone bridge extends outward from this point into the darkness. And from the other side of the archway, the other side of this bridge, burning light. The presence of a significant heat, that primordial flame you can smell and taste, is through this door beyond this bridge. And it's at this point that I will need everyone to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Oh boy.
As the
Fire boy.
pressure of the earth and the heat wafting up and through.
I rolled a 1.
Oh.
Okay.
I rolled a 1. 3.
Okay.
14.
Success.
Con save, right?
Yep.
16.
Success.
Hold on, my button's not working.
My butt.
Real dice.
My button. Yeah.
But,
Shit.
Hold on.
Let's just get those ones out of the way, Kev.
16.
Nice.
success. Augustus and DeCrane, you guys will be entering across this bridge with a point of exhaustion.
No.
As the heat here is extensive, and is particularly challenging. Specifically to Decrane wearing this new heavier armor, it's a little tougher to move within. You're just literally like sweating in ways that you haven't sweat before. And Augustus, as much as you are connected to flame, it is not of this primordial flame. It is an unearthly flame that is more your speed. Still hot, but in a different way. This is
maybe like stumble to a knee for a second and then pick myself back up.
Ray buzzes just gently, trying to make sure you're okay.
It's okay, girl. Keep going.
She just nestles in close and tries to dim her light ever so slightly so as not to keep you warm.
Can I cast one thing before we keep going? Is that okay?
Yeah, you guys have just the bridge to cross before you reach anything else.
Seeing Ray there, I'm gonna almost like cast with her, like hoping for some more help. I'm gonna use Summon Beast. And I envision this like, it's almost like Ray kind of takes a moment and almost like she's the head of like a cat, like a little like panther cat, little land animal. She'd almost like create that and then float back to me. And then there's this little like kind of spectral solar cat with us. It's a small beast. And for the listener, if they cared, it could either be flying, land, or water-based. So this one's gonna be land-based.
Great.
Cool thing about this, it has pack tactics. So if we're fighting near it, it'll help us.
I will say the pack tactics thing is only for it.
Yes, sorry, yeah, for it.
But yeah, absolutely. You create this version, and we can say like Ray is a part of it, and then if you want to summon Ray, she just separates from it.
Cool, love that.
I like that. I like that thematically that she
can be like a little bell on his collar.
Sure.
Ali, I was picturing like, is it Sol Galeo? You know that guy?
Sol Galeo? Yeah.
Or like the face of it is that thing, and then it just splashes into that. Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Faint solar energy rising off that does give a little bit of faint light for the rest of you, and especially for those of you who are having trouble seeing in the dark. It's a little bit more comforting here. Going forward, obviously, noting that that is concentration. At this point, the bridge across, I will need a marching order.
Oh, we haven't done one of these in a long time.
Okay, who needs to be up front?
Decrane, Coulson's like our tank. Coulson is the tank.
I can go in the middle if that's the best.
I think the best might be the front for you, actually.
All right, whatever.
Not to volunteer you for like the front line, but
I'm so used to Gord, I was always just like the back.
That's right.
You didn't even ask me near the end there. Automatically was like,
I'm in the back. We could do like Coulson to Crane, and then.
Well, we also have to think about perception too, right? Because it's kind of. Is it still really dark in here, Kyle? Even though like the light is growing in the distance?
It's going to get brighter once you get across the bridge for sure.
Okay.
That seems to be the concentration of where this like light and fire is. It's been much darker up to this point.
What if we do Walker, new name, potentially Texas, we could call it Texas, Walker at the front, and then, oh, Allie's freezing for me. Are you guys freezing?
She's getting a little pixelated.
It's getting real. 480p over there.
We could do Walker at the front, because if there's a trap, whatever, Walker's fine. Then we could do Coulson. Then we could do Decrane. Then we could do...
I should probably be in the middle.
Andy. And then we could do Nettie and then me.
You guys are also super... We're thinking skinny bridge. Falling purposes. You guys can bamf yourself back up or hop or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
If shit starts collapsing behind us.
I don't know if this helps also. I was just reading here. I have dark vision, 60 feet. I don't know if that helps.
How many feet, by the way?
60.
Okay.
So in Canadian, that's like 120
meters?
Centimeters? Oh. I have no idea.
More than 120 centimeters. Okay, well, so cat thing, Coulson. Kev, where do you want to go? Front or back?
I'll go in the front.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Then I can go in the back if you need me to. I'm tall, so like you don't want to be. You need to be able to see around me.
That's true. Okay, let's
the
go.
buddies want to stay together.
We do. Let's go. Kitty Cat, Coulson, the Crane, Andy, Nettie, Augie.
Okay.
It's a perfect plan. We've
Nothing
never had a better
could
plan.
possibly go wrong.
Okay. You guys begin to make your way across the bridge in the stated order. It is not quite so tight that you are worried of like each step of falling off the edge, although there are no rails. There are no rides on either side. It is an open, very Khazad-dûm like walkway. It is unsettling for those of you who look over the edge and see nothing below. You make your way across. Coulson being the first humanoid in the line here. Do you read? I assume you do, but do you read and speak Dwarvish?
Speak, friend, and enter.
One moment, please. Sorry, this app. Oh, wait, here we go. Proficiencies in languages. Dwarvish, Drifter, Common, Wood Elf, Elvish, Wood Elf.
Good for you.
It says 60 words each. I don't know if that.
Does it actually?
Matt, no.
It's like, Jesus.
I'm only
60
learning
words,
60
Matt.
words.
Kind of bilingual in several languages, but not a whole lot.
Well, it's a weird selection of words you've chosen in this case. As you begin to approach, and I want to point out for Coulson as well, though you have lived in this town for a long time, this is like ancient. This is prior to Brunderkiln being Brunderkiln. This place and this mine wasn't a part of the day-to-day life in Brunderkiln. This wasn't part of the industry of Brunderkiln. Brunderkiln built up around the fall after the Ashen Wastes and the Day of Dark Sun. This is ancient, like, and you can see the layers of dust on things where the Ichor has yet to touch. Means you guys are very likely the first people here in some time. And it is a little disconcerting to make your way towards, in Dwarvish, what reads Vardrek Ho, as the kind of above the archway that you make your way towards at the end of this bridge. But in common, the translation to those of you who can read and speak Dwarvish is the Gate of the Dead. Ooh.
Gate of the Dead?
Mm-hmm.
What a terrifying.
It's like there's
sentence
just
to walk
so
back into.
many red flags, you know what I mean? Like, so many.
The DM asking you, "Are you sure you don't want to prepare any other spells?" Also,
bring
this
this
is called
cat?
the Gate of Dead People.
Like when in Doom always did this when you go into a room and there's just like a million health packs and like ammo, you know, like something's about to happen.
Shit's about to
Yeah.
The next door. You're like, why's all this stuff here? That's weird. Shields and stuff.
I'll just heal up.
You cross beneath the ornate archway of this gateway into the afterlife, and you enter into just kind of an entryway that you can see is largely cracked and broken, and you can immediately see Coulson and then DeCrane shortly thereafter. You can see this immediate space beyond the archway has been like broken and eaten away. And I say eaten because as you cross under, you get a better idea of what lies beyond. And what lies beyond is a maelstrom of tendrils of magma rising from a pool deep below to pockets in the air, in the sky, in the walls that you can see are rifts of energy, kind of black and white spotting circles of energy that this the magma and rock and pieces are kind of swirling maelstrom of all the bits of this space, and you see large chunks being pulled of the earth above. The rumbling in the city is it being eaten from beneath by these gateways into the worlds beyond. Through some of these holes, you can faintly see starlight. And in the center, beyond what this broken pathway, you can see there was a pathway that now lies in various chunks of long-standing pillar, and what should have been a risen lake of lava now descended significantly as it has been consumed and used and taken. Across these pillars that still stand to give some semblance of pathway, you see a figure, a figure of humanoid proportion, though surely not someone like you. You see 4 arms extending beyond, commanding and swirling in flame, and no head or face as it kind of spins and floats in the air, legs kind of dangling, and really not even legs, but more a swirl of flame beneath, giving it lift. As it turns, you see the face. It's no longer a face, but a maelstrom swirling black hole wreathed in black flame. And from there, we will pick up next time.
Maybe he's a cool guy. Maybe he's a cool guy. This feels like... Oh, who knows what happens to this guy, but did we just encounter a big bad? Feels big baddie. He's doing cool shit.